So first of all, good day to each and everyone who are watching our report. So basically, our report contains in various business perspectives, principles, tools, and also the techniques to identify the commercial opportunities. Well, basically, ang report namin is iikot lamang sa profit maximization and the economic analysis na nagpo-focus sa ating maximum profit. Just to add, Porter's 5 forces analysis evaluates industry's bargaining power, while industry's analysis examines environmental scanning and the industry profitability. One of the tools or one of the techniques that usually used when it comes to economic analysis is it is also well known or known as a SWOT analysis, or the strength, weaknesses, and also the opportunity and threats analysis. It examines the conditions for profit maximizations, competition forces, and also the potential obstacles to profitability.
Economic analysis of profit maximizations. So, as we discussed sa ating chapter 1, in the economic analysis of decisions and actions of individuals, including business firms, is nasa-set yung ating ideal choice kapag yung ating marginal utility is nagiging equal sa ating cost. So, yung goal ng ating mga firms is makapag-earn ng profit, which is yung difference ng ating revenue and ng ating cost. So, in the economic, yung ating profit maximization is nangyayari kapag merong maximum gap between sa ating total revenue and total cost. So, kumaga, nangyayari ito kapag yung ating marginal revenue production is equal or mas mataas sa ating cost.
Next is the market concentration. This refers to the number of sellers and buyers in the market. The more concentrated the market means the lesser producers are there in the industry. These few suppliers command huge market power in determining the prices in the industry. Thus, a monopolistic market is considered the most concentrated, with a single seller determining the price that would maximize the profit of the business enterprise.
Now we're going to talk about the barriers to entry. So pag sinabi natin barriers to entry, ito yung mga challenges or obstacles na pwedeng magpahirap para sa mga potential new entrants na makapasok dun sa isang market. So yung mga potential new entrants ulit, sila yung mga parang newbie sa isang industriya. So sila yung mga nagbabalak mag-establish or kunwari magbenta dun sa isang market na yun. And sa perspective nila, syempre mahirap tong barriers to entry. Kasi nga kailangan pa nila ng mga requirements, ng mga kailangan pagdaanan bago makapasok dito sa isang market na to. Pero sa perspective naman ng mga existing na o naka-establish na company doon sa loob ng market na yon, yung mga meron na, yung mga andun na, advantage to sa kanila kasi nape-prevent nitong barriers to entry yung pagkakaroon nila ng kakompetensya. Ngayon, meron tayong dalawang klase ng barriers to entry. Ito yung scale barriers at yung legal barriers. So, sa scale barriers muna tayo. So, scale barriers are all about the size and the resources needed to enter a market. So, ito yung mga resources, halimbawa yung mga significant amount of capital, specialized equipment, yung mga ganun, mga resources. Kasi sa ibang industries like technology industry, kinakailangan nila ng mga advanced equipment kasi nga technology sila. Kailangan pantayan yun ng mga potential new entrants na nagbabalak na mag-establish ng company nila doon. So, yung company na yun, dapat meron nga sila ng mga advanced equipment para mapantayan nila yung mga mga existing na nandun sa company. Kailangan nilang pantayan yung meron sila doon kasi nga magiging magkakompetensya sila. So dapat kung ano yung meron sila, meron din yung mga potential new entrants. Legal barriers, on the other hand, are all about the rules and regulations that govern an industry. So, eto naman, yung legal barriers, about siya sa mga batas, mga law, ganon, na galing sa gobyerno. Kasi yung gobyerno, pwede nilang lagyan ng restriction yung isang place para magkaroon ng protection mula sa public, para ma-ensure nila yung fair competition. So, ayun yung legal barriers. From the word legal, it's all about from the law, from the government. And syempre, these regulations can create hurdles for new businesses as they need to meet certain standards or obtain licenses before entering the market. Example dito sa legal barriers, yung mga healthcare industries. Since healthcare sila, pinagkakatiwalaan sila sa pangkalusugan ng tao, kailangan syempre tunay or legit sila. Meron silang mga lisensya, mga mga skilled talaga dapat yung tauhan nila, ganun. Especially buhay ng tao yung nakasalalay sa kanila, kaya kailangan talaga nila ng mga patunay na mapagkakatiwalaan sila ng mga lisensya, ng mga papeles nga ganun from the law, from the government. Okay, to summarize lahat ng pinagsasabi ko, ang barriers to entry ay merong dalawang klase, yung scale barriers at legal barriers. So, yung scale barriers ulit, ito yung all about sa size o mga resources na nire-require sa mga potential new entrants na dapat meron sila. Yung mga resources like capital, yung mga ganun significant amount, tapos yung mga specialized equipments, ganun yung halimbawa ng mga resources. Tapos sa legal barriers naman, ito yung mga from the government o yung mga lisensya, ganun, mga papeles, mga approval ng government, ganun. So yun, that's it for the barriers to entry.
Product differentiation refers to how you set your product apart from its competitors on the market. During this differentiation process, you define the unique properties and value your product delivers over others. You also highlight the major differences between your offering versus what competitors offer. What is product differentiation factor? Product differentiation factor is how companies stand out pricing. How does your product pricing compare to competitors? Quality. Does your company produce a product that higher quality than competitors? Design. Is your product easy to use? Do you have sleek and more appealing design? Features. Does the product have exclusive features that add value for customer? Service. Do you offer help with onboarding or provide 24/7 support? Customization. Can you tailor your product to the customer needs in a way competitors can?
Limited information. Ito yung parang unevenness or unfairness ng pagkaka-distribute ng information sa mga actors such as sellers or buyers. Kasi kapag mas madami kang information sa market, mas tataas yung market power mo. Therefore, mas magiging better yung decision making mo kasi na-utilize mo yung information na yon. For example, ano ba yung wala sa ibang sellers na pwede mong gawin or i-implement? Ano yung pwede mong gawin para ma-improve mo yung weakness ng business mo?
Porter's 5 Forces Framework is a method of analyzing the operating environment of a competition of a business. It draws from industrial organization economics to derive 5 forces that determine the competitive intensity and therefore the attractiveness of an industry in terms of its profitability. An unattractive industry is one in which the effect of these 5 forces reduces overall profitability. The most unattractive industry would be one approaching pure competition in which available profits for all firms are driven to a normal profit levels. The 5 forces perspective is associated with its originator, Michael E. Porter of Harvard University. Porter refers to these forces as the microenvironment to contrast it with the more general term macroenvironment. They consist of those forces close to a company that affects its ability to serve its customers and make a profit. A change in any of the forces normally requires a business unit to reassess the marketplace given the overall change in industry information. The overall industry attractiveness does not imply that every firm in the industry will return the same profitability. Firms are able to apply their core competencies, business model, or network to achieve a profit above the industry average.
So good day everyone! Today I'll be discussing the competition among the existing firms in the industry. Competition? So first of all, hindi naman natin maiwasan maka-encounter ng mga businesses na nagbebenta ng similar products or services. So therefore, nagkakaroon tayo ng competition. So bakit nga ba tayo nagkakaroon ng competition? Kasi they're trying to find ways para maka-attract pa ng mas maraming customers and at the same time, mas tumaas yung profitability ng business nila. So meron tayong iba't ibang types ng market, which is monopolistic, competitive, and oligopolistic market. So a monopolistic market is characterized by a single seller selling unique product. So in monopolistic market, iisa lang po yung nagbebenta. For example niyan is yung Meralco. Since wala siyang kaagaw sa mga customers, mas lalong tumataas yung market power niya sa industry. While a competitive market is composed of many businesses that are selling similar products. For example na niyan is yung mga milk tea shops, fast food restaurants, and etc. And lastly, the oligopolistic market. Ito yung type ng market na unti lang yung sellers. Parang siya, in between monopolistic and competitive market.
Hello everyone, I'm Maris Marcelo Benedicto, and now I'm going to discuss what is bargaining powers of customers. So bargaining powers of customers only depends on the flexibility of the bargaining approach. For example, a customer wants to buy a product only when the suppliers would give a discount, but the supplier has a fixed price tag for the product and is not ready to provide any sort of discount. So at this point po, nandito po yung connection between the sellers and the buyers. Then, syempre po, yung mga buyers, once nila yung makakamura sila or bababa yung presyo ng bibili nila. While yung sellers naman po, gusto nila yung kumikita sila or umaangat yung kita nila or yung benta nila. So, nandito po yung part na kailangan nila kumuha or makuha yung satisfaction ng isa't isa. So, if customers are organized, they can exercise and exert bargaining power by demanding the lowest price possible. Example, nakipag-cooperate po yung buyers and seller na magbigay ng discounts kasi bumili siya ng pangmaramihan or bultuhan or yung as in sobrang dami na. So, ganun yung nagiging deals ng buyers and sellers. Yun din yung tinatawag na bargaining power of customers dahil nasusunod yung wants ng customers. So, nagkakaroon sila every time ng deal na bibili ako ng marami but bigyan mo ako ng discount. So, dun umiiral or lumalabas yung bargaining powers of customers dahil most of the time is nasusunod yung wants ng mga buyers. So, at this point din po is parehas din naman silang kumikita and nasa-satisfy sa deals na ginagawa nila. That's all. Thank you!
Ano nga po ba ang bargaining power of a supplier? Bargaining power of supplier po, isa po siyang poster 5 forces. Binibigyan po nito yung presyo yung company by lowering product quality or availability or prices. Discussed in previous chapter, the process of production of involved the conversion of raw materials or intermediate input performed by factor or processing input to procedure and output. Those business enterprise as well as the industry will need the raw materials as intermediate input to be further transformed. In addition, it will need labor service, capital, land service, and manager, and other factor input that will process the raw materials.
Threats of new entrants. In Porter's 5 forces, threat of new entrants refers to the threat of new competitors posed to an existing competitors in an industry. Therefore, a profitable industry will attract more competitors looking to achieve more profits. And it is easy for the new entrants to enter the market. Yung mga new entrants, ito yung businesses na itatayo pa lang or yung magiging kapareho ng business mo within the same industry or sila yung magiging competitors mo. If entry barriers are low, then this poses threats to the firms already competing in that market. So pag sinabing competition, it means less yung profit na makukuha natin. New entrants are the businesses that want to enter your market. Your power is affected by the ability of others to enter your market. New competitors can easily enter your market when there are low entry of cost, few economies of the scale, no knowledge industry, and little protection of key technologies.
The threats of substitute goods refers to products or services that can satisfy a similar customer need as another product or service. These substitutes can potentially attract customers away from existing products or services, posing a competitive threat to business. For example, if a consumer can choose between different brands of smartphones or optimum for a tablet, instead, the available of substitutes impacts the demand for a particular product or service. Companies must consider the availability and attractiveness of substitute goods when analyzing the competitive landscape and developing strategies to differentiate themselves and retain customers.
And now, let's talk about environmental scanning in industry analysis. It is a crucial tool for understanding the impact of various factors on a business, company, and industry. It helps identify the indirect impacts of these forces and their indirect effects on the business enterprise. The analysis of market structures and competitive forces is essential for understanding the attractiveness of an industry. The industry operates in various environments, including the rival firms and the other industries, and also the other economies. Changes in one sector can indirectly affect other sectors, even without supplier-buyer relationships. Business firms are affected by the health of the national economy, tax measures, government regulations, and significant global economic development. Non-sector factors such as technological advancements, societal changes, and demographic changes, and also punctuations in the natural environment, also play a role in shaping the industry's productions and supply conditions.
Let's proceed sa next topic, which is national and global economies. So, bago tayo mag-dive sa further details about sa topic na to, first we have to break down kung ano nga ba ang meaning ng national and global economies. So, first off, national and global, it talks about sa mga countries and locals na kinabibilangan ng tao. So, kung i-connect natin siya sa economy, now we're talking about sa economy ng isang bansa and ng buong bansa dito sa planeta. So, according po dito sa national and global economies, kapag po ang isang national or yung country na tinatawag is nagkaroon ng fluctuation or pagbabago sa kanilang economy, is may tendency po na magkaroon rin ng effect yon sa mga ibang bansa na kinabibilangan dito. So, ang example po dito is ang Japan and Amerika. So, kapag ang Japan po and Amerika had a recession or pagkaroon ng pagbaback out sa kanilang mga contract or partnership sa iba't ibang uri ng industries, then magkakaroon po ito ng effect sa both countries. So, hindi lang po sa both countries, let's say, yung Japan is meron siyang kakonek sa ibang bansa, kagaya ng Pilipinas, example lang, then pwede rin po tayong maapektuhan. So, ito po ang shortest explanation sa national and global economies. So, now let's proceed po sa other examples na nagbibigay impact sa economies ng mga bansa. So, one of the example po na nagbibigay impact sa national and global economies ay ang tinatawag na government policies and regulations. So, ano nga po ba ang government policies and regulations? So, lahat po ng bansa is may policies na sinusunod and regulations. So, kapag ang ibang bansa po is nagkakaroon ng hindi pagkatugma sa isang bansa, let's say for example yung Japan, and kapag yung US po is meron siyang mga ibang policies na hindi tugma sa policy ng Japan, then meron pong tendency na magkaroon ng limitation sa partnership nilang dalawa. So next example po sa pagbabago ng national and global economies is yung tinatawag na technological developments. So, sa technological development po is lahat po ng bansa is nagkakaroon ng development or improvement sa kanilang technology na ginagamit. So, isa po sa factor yung technological development sa pagkaroon ng effect or paggalaw, pag-fluctuate ng economies nationally and globally. So, ang example po nitong technological development is yung ugnayan ng Japan sa iba't ibang bansa. So, alam naman po natin na yung Japan is known for its advancement pagdating sa technology. So, in that way, or in that cause, marami pong bansa is lumalapit sa bansang Japan para lang magkaroon ng mga technology na advance na meron sila. So, yun po ang isa sa example ng technological developments. So, nagkakaroon po ng fluctuation or pag-improve or pagtaas sa economy ng isang bansa regarding sa technology na inaambag nito. So, let's say for example po, yung Japan is binigyan niya ang US ng mga robots na meron sila. Then, ang tendency po nito is mas tumaas yung economy ng US. Now, let's say for example, nagkaroon ng recession yung Japan and yung US, then may tendency po na kapag hindi binigyan or hindi nag-load ng robots or ng technology yung Japan sa US, then may tendency po na mag-fluctuate or bumaba yung economy ng US compare sa Japan pagdating sa technology. Okay, so another factor po pagdating sa national and global economy is yung tinatawag natin na demographic changes. So ano nga ba ang demographic changes? So ito po ay ang pagbabago sa demographic or yung estado ng mga tao or ng population sa isang lugar. Especially country kasi national ang point ng report namin. So dito po sa demographic changes is related po siya sa pagbabago ng national and global economy. Since ang mga tao po is considered siya or tinuturing siya as demand or customer ng mga businesses. So, when we say businesses, related po dito yung mga industries, factories, and other business entities. So, nagkakaroon po dito ng changes sa economy kapag nagkaroon po ng changes sa demographic. So, ano nga po ba ang demographic changes? So, it's either maging overpopulated yung isang bansa or underpopulated. So, kapag underpopulated po ang isang bansa or onti lang nakatira, then may tendency po to na mataas ang chance na bumaba ang demand sa bansa na yun. So, isa po yun sa magiging weaknesses ng mga business entities. So, now, sa overpopulation naman po, dito po, ang tendency po nito is mas mataas na rate na pwedeng makuha ng mga industries sa kanilang revenue. So, in that way po, magkakaroon ng mas mataas na economy ang isang bansa. So, another factor po is ang tinatawag na social changes. So ang social changes po is naka-point out sa behavior ng society towards the products ng mga business entities, or bilang product, also services. So, isa po ito sa result ng pagkakaroon ng pagbabago sa economy or resources ng isang bansa. So, last po sa factor na nagpapabago ng national and global economy ng isang bansa or as a whole is yung tinatawag na changes in the natural environment. So, ang changes in the natural environment po na tinatawag is ito po yung pagbabago ng klima. For example po is yung ice industry. So, kapag nagbago po yung klima, kagaya ngayon, is mas umiinit, then mas mataas po yung chance na mas tataas ang rate ng mga ice industry since yung klima po natin is appropriate sa business nila. And sabihin naman natin na lumamig ulit, then yung business industry na yun na ice is magpo-fluctuate. So, may mataas na chance na bumaba. So, yun po ang mga factors na nakapaloob sa national and global economies. So, sa mga factors po na yun, dun po natin malalaman kung bakit nga ba nagkakaroon ng pagbabago sa national economy tapos naapektuhan yung global economy sa mundo.